Now, forewarned weather with Ashlee Baracy.
Well, we're trying to get you over the hump today. Make sure you're prepared for a changing weather pattern. And so today, we do have some of that lingering smoke that we've been talking about for days and how that impacts our air quality. But we get relief this afternoon as that smoke will be retreating to the north. And we'll talk more about that, but we're trading it for storm chances. And so we do have chances both today and tomorrow. Today will be more of that popcorn pop-up variety as we have a cold front that then sweeps through come tomorrow. And that's going to bring us a cooler, less humid air mass by Friday. In fact, dipping below average on Friday, which will be pretty comfortable, but then more storm chances start to creep in with seasonal conditions this weekend. Not a washout, but you might be dodging a shower or two. So Exact Track 4D showing that we've had a shower or two on radar, but it certainly is weakening as it's pushing up to the north and almost completely fizzling out as it pushes past Milford and inching close to West Bloomfield. So that's good news this morning. But let's zoom out to show you how that thicker smoke mass that came out of the central portion of Canada with the wildfires has now sunk a little farther south into the Great Lakes region and stretching up into the New England region. And so this will continue to push to the north today, but just north of Metro Airport is where we have a thicker smoke layer, and it has resulted in moderate air quality across lower Michigan, but unhealthy for those that are just north of Port Huron. Smoke forecast. So if you look real closely, you can see that light gray here. That's that smoke that will continue to push north. And once we get to midday, you're going to notice a difference. The only trade-off is clouds will be rolling in with some storm chances. And so that's the trade-off. Marginal level 1 risk for strong to severe storms heading into the afternoon and evening today. The latest update from the Storm Prediction Center expanded that slight level 2 risk from west of Lake Michigan to now include the western portion of lower Michigan. But you can see quite a big area here that's under that marginal level 1 risk. And so what does that mean for us? We might get damaging wind gusts around 60 miles per hour, but just really pockets of some heavy rain that will be developing. So an hour by hour look at how this shakes out. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, now we're starting to see some stuff develop, and that's just very much scattered, isolated. Those are hard to pinpoint where they bubble up and will continue to linger throughout the area once we get into the evening. Once we're past sunset, a lot of this is pushing to the east, but we have a cold front that then chases all of this, and that brings us a passing shower or two as we get into tomorrow morning. Our model data picking that up a little bit farther south, Monroe, Lenawee counties, and then we could have another passing shower or storm midday or early afternoon. At this point, we're not under a severe threat for tomorrow, but that doesn't mean you don't get a passing downpour with some gustier winds. Friday will be drier as high pressure builds in. And so for those of us that are waking up in the city today, 74, but off in Ann Arbor, a little cooler at 69, 74 in Pontiac, 73 in Monroe. So a mild start out there, but temperatures rise in the upper 80s this afternoon with those spotty storm chances later in the day. Here's a look at your Ann Arbor Art Fair forecast that kicks off tomorrow. Of course, there will be a chance for that storm. I feel like there's always at least one day of that for the Ann Arbor Art Fair, but Friday's the pick day. Less humid, slightly below average with a high of 80. Pretty seasonal Saturday with those storm chances late. That could take us into early Sunday, but that's not a washout for the weekend. And we'll stay in those 80s going into early next week.
Get a check of the forecast with Ms. Baracy.
So we've had a couple spotty rain on radar today. I mean, very isolated showers, and most of that is off to the east, but we do have a moderate little downpour close to downtown Detroit. Otherwise, that air quality, not great, even though we're not under an advisory, still unhealthy for sensitive groups in portions of southeastern Michigan. That smoke should retreat. We're starting off the day on either side of 70, but storm chances return this afternoon with highs in the 80s.
The last voice that you heard there is Detroit native Tamira Chapman. She's the publisher of the book trilogy, and this is her first book to come out. She has about 30 authors now, but to come out of the gates with this, book one, Best Man Unfinished Business, is available everywhere that you buy books, including the Source Book Store that's right here in Detroit, who helped sponsor last night's book tour event.
I heard Tay Diggs, and now I can't. This guy.
And it's also interesting, too, because they said this is kind of a first of its kind, literary speaking, on when you have a book based on a film. Usually it's just
the other way
film
around.
and a book form, form and a film. But this literally is taking the next chapter of these characters' lives.
So here's the question. is he going to make this into a film?
I asked
Get it out
him.
of him.
You know,
sure.
I asked him, and he said never say never. So,
Okay.
you know, we'll have to wait and see on
No
that.
doubt.
But right now, he has 11 films to his credit. He's done quite a few. He's a cousin to Spike Lee, who I asked my cousin Spike. You know, he just threw that in the
Oh, you don't
conversation.
think about that. Well,
Yeah.
Same last name. Is it?
Yeah. So it was a really cool night last night.
Good stuff. It will not be a cool night tonight, I don't think.
No, we haven't had cool nights or cool days in a long time.
I know we do have a little cool down come Friday. I mean, a high of 80. We'll take that when we're,
That'll feel refreshing.
It will. It really will, especially when we lower the humidity to go with it on
Oh,
Friday, which will be nice. But we have to be patient till we get there. So let's go ahead and get a check of what is on Exact Track 4D, which might not look like a whole lot when you have this broader view of southeastern Michigan. But let me zoom into the map there, and there you go. In downtown Detroit, we're getting some rain. And so this is along Jefferson Avenue between really the downtown area and Indian Village, and then right over Comerica Park, getting some of the moderate rain. And so that is clipping the Fisher Freeway and also the Lodge and Chrysler as well. So we're definitely going to be seeing a little bit of rain in the downtown area for just a little while longer before we push that out. And then otherwise the fire, the Canadian wildfire smoke, I should say, will be retreating back to the north heading into the afternoon. But in the meantime, we still have a somewhat thick layer of smoke draping lower Michigan, and that has brought moderate to unhealthy levels of air quality for sensitive groups, at least for the morning hours. But that smoke forecast, you can see how that pulls up to the north as we head into the afternoon. So we'll clear out that smoke, but clouds will replace it as we do have some shower and storm chances going into your afternoon and evening. Broad view, because I just want to show you that really that marginal risk for severe weather drapes more than just the Great Lakes. That's stretching all the way up into portions of New York and as far west as Colorado. In fact, Denver under that slight level 2 risk, and either side of Lake Michigan, so the west side of our state, also under that level 2 slight risk. So better chance for some stronger storms off to our west, but we still could see something isolated bubble up to severe limits, and that would include damaging wind gusts or an isolated downpour that leads to flooding. Hour by hour look at how this kind of shakes out. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think we see a little activity on radar. Could be as early as 1, but 2 o'clock onward is when we have that chance for seeing some of those downpours. And then it'll start to wane, but still around by about 9, 10 o'clock. Then we'll have a little break. Cold front starts to approach us tomorrow, which brings us to a few morning shower chances. And then we could have another passing shower or non-severe storm midday tomorrow in the wake of that front. By Friday, high pressure dominates the forecast, and we will have dry conditions, less humid conditions, and those cooler temperatures. So 76 degrees in the city right now, where we do have a couple of those raindrops that were on the camera lens here. 71 in Ann Arbor, 74 in Pontiac, 75 in Monroe. And for the rest of your day, rising into the mid to upper 80s with those afternoon storm chances possible. Art Fair forecast, which kicks off tomorrow in Ann Arbor, 86. Chance for that passing shower too, but you saw that's not a washout tomorrow by any means. Friday's the pick day, 80, less humid with some sunshine and a chance for storms late Saturday into early Sunday, but hopefully that ends up being an overnight event and doesn't impact your weekend plans too much. Seasonal low 80s, but we do rise back in the upper 80s early next week.
I bet that's really powerful.
I bet you
Yeah.
bet it is. 2 more hours of conversations coming your way and some deep dives into your headlines with Local 4 Live. Priya's in today to take over the desk for Nick. And coming up in about 9 minutes, she's talking about a new concept on social media called vibe-based saving or revenge saving, which is where people are adjusting financial habits based on feelings about the economy.
Yeah, that's happening a lot these days.
Yeah.
Also at 9, she is talking to a local doctor about the truth behind SPF in our makeup. And well, you guys wear makeup too. I was going to say actually, but spoiler alert, these dudes wear makeup. But all of the labels always say SPF, and the big question is it really protecting you from the harmful rays of the sun? So she's going to take a closer look at that as well.
I'm always curious about, there's a lotion that I have that has SPF.
Yeah.
Because my daughter's always telling me, she goes, Dad, you're in the sun too much, make sure you use that. I'm like, this isn't
I know. It needs to be.
No complaints about Ashlee's forecast, as far as I can tell.
Right, as of right now, we can't complain much. We have pretty much dry conditions. We had one pocket of rain push through the downtown area, but our air quality is looking not great this morning, but that's going to improve this afternoon as that smoke layer from the wildfires will retreat to the north. Right now, we are in the low to mid 70s to start the day, upper 80s for the afternoon high, but midday and beyond, storm chances increase. Marginal level 1 risk for them being strong to severe across southeastern Michigan with gusty winds and heavy rain, the primary threats.
Okay, couple.